All right, big news on the recruiting trail for the Georgia Bulldogs today. Five-star quarterback Julian Lewis, the #1 player in the country for the 2026 class out of Carrollton High School, has reclassified to the 2025 class. And that's a big deal for a lot of reasons, especially for the Georgia Bulldogs. I'm going to talk all about that in this video. But first, I want to go back. About a year and a half ago. I saw Julian Lewis play against Westlake as a freshman. And I spoke with some sources at that game. This is when he was uncommitted, right? Now he's still committed to USC. That could obviously change because USC is just not what I think a lot of people thought they would be. But I spoke with a source there and I said, hey man, is Georgia really in this? Can they get this guy? And at that time, I was told no. In fact, that source kind of smirked and laughed a little bit because NIL has always been something that Julian and I believe his family have been interested in. Obviously, it's a big part of the game right now. So NIL plus, he wants to play early. He's an extremely talented kid, played as a freshman at Carrollton, was phenomenal, had one of the best freshman seasons any quarterback has ever had in the state of Georgia. Took Carrollton to the 7A state championship as a freshman. They lost to Caleb Downs in Mill Creek, but he was phenomenal in that game. So between NIL and the ability to play early, I was told that Georgia's not really a program that could land him at that time. And of course, I was right because he would go on to commit to Southern Cal, where he is still currently committed. But now things are different because at that time, Georgia was wrapping up the 23 class, and I knew that they wanted to date 2 quarterbacks in 24. And with another quarterback in 25, he's obviously 26. So I knew it would be tough for him to play early. But now that he's reclassified to the 2025 class, they only took 1 quarterback in 24 in Ryan Puglisi. And the fact that Georgia is playing more of this NIL game, when they need to. If they want a guy, they'll say, hey, we'll play that game. All right, what's it going to take? We need you. So Georgia's playing that game more and more. I say it's a game. It's realistic, right? NIL is a big, big deal. Every school has to participate in it if they want to land those 5 stars. If they have a big target that they want to land and that kid's all about kind of, hey, what can you do for me? I'm looking at NIL. More importantly, yeah, you're going to have to accommodate that somehow, some way. So with Georgia, in my opinion, from what I'm hearing, using NIL practices more to land some of these high school kids, plus the fact that, it looks a little easier for him to play at Georgia because they didn't take a quarterback in 23. They only took 1 in 24, and now he is going to be their top guy, from what I've been told, their top target in the 25 class. Mike Bobo has been a big fan of Julian Lewis for a long, long time. I was being tagged in tweets of him in 6th grade. This is a kid that I've heard about for years and years and years now. When he was just a young pup and, Pop Warner days, I was getting tagged in these clips. And at the time, I'm like, okay, this really young kid, I'm not focused on 6th and 7th grade, football. He finally gets to Carrollton with all this hype. And as a freshman, he threw for, I have it right here, over 4,000 yards, if I can get it. Yeah, just 4,118 yards. Let me say that again because I got kind of tongue twisted. 4,118 yards as a freshman in 7A. Now, he's not the biggest or fastest kid. He's about 6'1", 185. Kid can make all the throws. He's fundamentally sound. He's got incredible arm strength, footwork. He can dissect defenses. He knows where to go with the football. 48 touchdown passes as a freshman. Now, he did throw 12 interceptions, but kid was like 15 years old. But to throw for over 4,000 yards, 48 touchdowns, leading your team to the 7A title as a freshman, ridiculous. The hype was 100% real and still is. Last year, this past season, as a sophomore, he threw for 3,000 yards, 48 more touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. Again, in 7A in the state of Georgia against quality defenses and teams every single week. He threw for 48 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Now, I believe they lost in the semifinal, but he is an incredible talent. Was the #1 player in the country in 26, still probably a top 10 player in the country in the 25 class. So now that, Georgia only took 1 in 24, whoever they sign in the 25 class has a real opportunity in front of them to play, maybe not as a freshman, but maybe as a sophomore or junior, right? They've got Ryan Puglisi in front of him, who's good. He is a good player. Y'all know this. If you've been watching this channel, you know how good Ryan Puglisi is because you've seen highlights of him that no one else has. Julian Lewis is a program-changing type of quarterback. I don't know if I'm going to put him with Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields, but he could be. He could be. I'd like to see more of him. But when you watch him throw, it's just effortless. I mean, he is pinpoint accuracy. He can launch the ball down the field. He can make every single type of throw, the back shoulder throw, the seam throw, the deep ball, the quick slant. I mean, everything is precise. The great footwork. He's not super mobile. He can run a little bit. He can make plays in the pocket and buy time and make defenders miss. But he's not Justin Fields, running. He's not Josh Allen. He's not that type of, crazy, speedy Michael Vick runner, right? But he's mobile enough to make plays with his feet. But his arm is just off the charts. And he's just a sophomore. So he'll basically skip his junior season and he'll be in his final season next year. I believe he's still at Carrollton. As far as I know, he'll be playing at Carrollton this fall with Joey King, who of course coached at Cartersville. He coached Trevor Lawrence. Probably the best high school football coach in the state of Georgia. He's done a terrific job with Julian Lewis, but I do think Georgia is a real factor for him now. Year and a half ago, I didn't think so, but things change, right? Things can change quickly. Now, he's still committed to Southern Cal, but it would not surprise me one bit. And, part of me expects him to open up his recruitment at some point. If he does, I think Georgia would be the team to beat. So he is a guy to know about. I know he's young, but he's not so young anymore because he only has one more year of high school ball. This is a kid who I think if he does open up his recruitment sometime soon, it wouldn't be surprising if he made a commitment shortly after. I believe he's going to take a visit to Georgia first week of February. Those are the reports. I've reached out to him, have not heard back, so I'm not confirming that 100%. But he's been in Georgia a lot. He's very familiar with Athens. He's been taking several visits over there. He knows the staff. He knows he's wanted there. This is a big deal. It's big news for sure because now he is Georgia's top guy in the 25 class, which is the upcoming class. And he's another 5-star in that class. I think he becomes the 5th 5-star prospect in the state of Georgia for the 25 class. Georgia's loading up, and I've made videos before, and I'll make more videos talking about how they could truly lock down the state of Georgia in 2025. Now that Julian Lewis is in that class, he might be the best player in the state for 25. He was the best player in the country in the 26. Moving up a little bit, I expect him to have another monster season in the fall. And I think he'll be committed at that point. I think he'll enroll early. Super smart kid. He's incredibly bright, and he has had one incredible high school career so far as a freshman, a sophomore. He's legit. He is absolutely legit. The hype has been real. And there was a lot of hype going into high school, for sure. I had already heard all about this kid, it felt like for years before he took a snap in high school. And he is just as good, if not better, than advertised. So definitely a guy to keep an eye on. And again, things change. And if Georgia will address the NIL, wants or needs that he might have, and they can say, hey, we only took one in that last class. We're planned on taking 2, Raiola and Puglisi. Dylan Raiola bounced. So, the depth chart opens up a little bit for whoever they sign in that 25 class. And it looks like it very well could be Julian Lewis. Now, I don't know if he's going to decommit, take some visits, and then commit elsewhere, or if it's just a flip. But it looks like behind the scenes, from what I'm hearing, Georgia has a very legitimate chance to land this kid. And Mike Bobo's smiling from ear to ear if that were to happen. He's pushing for Julian Lewis. He knows how good he is. I know how good he is. He is a tremendous talent and could be the next generational quarterback to come through Athens. There's no doubt about it. Now, again, he's going to have to beat out some guys in front of him because when Georgia takes a quarterback, he's a really good player. They have high hopes for him, right? But when he gets there, Gunnar Stockton will probably be gone at that point. There's 3 years of separation there. Then Ryan Puglisi, 1 year ahead of Julian Lewis. So again, if he commits and signs with Georgia, which is a real possibility, And I'm going to write more about this on Dawg Post and give more extended thoughts. So make sure you read the story that I'm going to write over on Dawg Post. Might be some insider scoop in the story that I can't exactly reveal right now on YouTube, but definitely a name to know. Julian Lewis, easy 5-star quarterback out of Carrollton High School, reclassifies from 2026 to 2025, and could be heading Georgia's way down the road. He's still committed to Southern Cal, but things change quickly, and if he opens things up, I think Georgia sits in the best position to land him. Thanks for watching this video. Really appreciate it. Sign up to our free newsletter. That link is down below. You can read all of our stories over on Dawg Post, and make sure you read this story when it's up as well. Thanks for watching. I'll see you over on the website.